It is May 7th, 2025, and we once again have to talk about the racism in the Murderbot Diaries fandom and the inherent, baked-in, inescapable racism and white supremacy of the Murderbot TV show as it is being produced by Apple TV. Apple TV Plus, sorry, I have to put in that little plus there because I just can't get over the fact that people will pay for Apple TV Plus. So, the fandom has been racist because it's always just been racist. Because racist people will find any fandom, but the Murderbot Diaries in particular is actively coddling the racists now with this white supremacist adaptation. Because Murderbot has always been, and I've said this multiple times and I'm just going to say it again, Murderbot has always been presented to us, the audience, as a person of color, as a dark-skinned person of color. Anybody who cares enough about this character and these books to seek out extra information will have found all of the official art depicting Murderbot as a dark-skinned person of color, literally the darkest-skinned person in the room. You've seen the official art if you've seen my other videos on this topic, and if you haven't, you can just go look for them when you're done this one, or pause this one. Just look up the Murderbot Omnibus. I forget who it's by, but I won't bring up the price again. Despite this series pretending to be anti-capitalist, it's absolutely anything but. And that includes the fact that the art, the official art, is so expensive that literally no random poor person could ever hope to afford it, unless they win the fucking lottery. But anyways, Murderbot has always been presented as a dark-skinned person of color. Murderbot is not white. The official art shows it very clearly, having very dark skin, not just light brown, not white person with a tan, very dark skin. Whoop. And every time Martha Wells has been asked what Murderbot looks like, she's said, again reinforcing the official art that any fan who cares to seek out extra info will have seen, saying that Murderbot has dark skin. It's a person of color, because that fits in with the narrative of somebody trying to escape slavery. But the Murderbot TV show is being adapted by Apple TV Plus. Apple. And yes, I am going to piss off the Apple stans by once again going over this. Apple is one of the most notoriously evil and capitalistic corporations in this day and age. If you say planned obsolescence, people are going to think Apple before they think anything else. If you say right to repair, people are going to think of Apple before anything else. They are the ultimate capitalist goons. But because this series isn't actually anti-capitalist and neither is the author, we're getting an adaptation by Apple TV Plus, another predatory streaming service designed to scam you out of your money and all of that shit that goes along with it. And we are whitewashing. Why am I saying we? These racist fuckers are whitewashing the protagonist, who has always been depicted as a person of color, a dark-skinned person of color, and they are whitewashing it by casting a rich, cis white man to play it instead of literally anybody else. Wow, this randomly generated wolf got a really long howl. So instead of casting literally anybody, they cast a cis white man for the non-binary character of color. And yes, fucking jackasses, Murderbot is non-binary. Agender/genderless is non-binary because it is not one of the binary genders. I am so sick to death of literal cis people in this fandom trying to cis-splain non-binary to actual non-binary people. Shut the fuck up. You have no fucking clue what you are talking about, and you have no right to speak. Just shut the fuck up. Murderbot is non-binary. You don't get to cis-splain its non-binariness away to defend racism and extra-sexism. And anyways, I'm making this video again, it's a new video. Making this video because the fandom continues to be racist and continues to continues to defend the whitewashing. And they keep doing it in very specific ways that just get repeated ad nauseum. So you will make a post, if we pretend you're one of the people in this fandom who's not useless, you'll make a post pointing out that whitewashing and ciswashing are bad. Whitewashing and ciswashing are bad. You'll make this post. And then these white supremacists in fandom, and that's what they are, because if you're defending whitewashing at this point in 2025, you're just defending white supremacy, especially with everything else considered about this show's production and everything that it is going to be. These white supremacists see the post going out of the way to specifically decry and criticize the white supremacism and the extra-sexism, the whitewashing and the ciswashing. And they will just look at these posts. They will look at all of the people who have a problem with the whitewashing and the ciswashing, and they will pretend that they don't see the criticism of the whitewashing. They will pretend that the whitewashing doesn't exist at all. And to quote-unquote debunk the ciswashing, they will just flat out absolutely lie about what the people are criticizing and say that the only thing people are upset about with a cis white man being cast in the role of a non-binary person of color, they'll claim that we're actually just saying we want an AFAB person cast, or and they say this in scare quotes like it's the most chilling insult they've ever uttered, a androgynous looking non-binary person, as though that's a fucking insult, as though that's something you should be insulted by. And they're acting like this is just completely unreasonable, even though Murderbot is pretty explicitly described as being androgynous. Murderbot specifically, we are told in just book 1 and multiple times thereafter, has no quote-unquote sex or gender-related parts. It's androgynous. That's an actual fact of the character. It is androgynous. It doesn't look like a man or a woman. It doesn't have breasts. It doesn't have an Adam's apple. It has features of neither male or female. It's specifically androgynous. It was built that way. But extra-sexists are just lying about what non-binary people who are upset about racism and ciswashing, they're just lying and pretending that we would all magically be okay with this if they cast a cis white woman instead, because they're literally pretending that the only thing we have a problem with is that a quote-unquote too masculine, quote-unquote not femme enough person was cast. As though we're not literally talking about a cis white man. He's not non-binary. He's not transgender. And I just have to keep saying this. Even if Alexander Skarsgård were non-binary, which he's not, that literally still would not make this decision any better. Because these fucking racists, white supremacists at this point, just absolutely refuse to admit that there's whitewashing going on. The problem is not just that they cast a cis man. It's that they cast a white person at all to play the character who has always been told to us is a person of color with very dark skin. There's official art, you can look it up just look up the official Murderbot omnibus art, or just even type into Google official Murderbot art, and it will surely pop up. Google hasn't yet gone down the at this point, I'm pretty sure, inevitable route of making Google search images into generative AI results. Anyways, this would not be any better if they'd cast a white non-binary person as opposed to a white cis man or a white cis woman, because this is what the white supremacists do not want to acknowledge. They literally act like they will die if they even acknowledge that there's anything racist going on at all. It wouldn't be any more progressive to whitewash Murderbot as a white non-binary person than it is to whitewash it as a cis white man, because you can't just care about one of these fucking issues. You have to care about all of them. You can't just be upset that Murderbot is cast by a cis person. You have to be upset that Murderbot has been whitewashed as a cis white man. And you would still have to be upset about that if Murderbot was whitewashed as a cis white woman or a white non-binary person. But the people in this fandom, they're not even getting this deep into the weeds. No, they will see literally hundreds of posts talking about the fact that this is racism, that this is white supremacy in action, because whitewashing is literally white supremacy in action. It is a systemic problem. It is systemically denying people of color acting roles, and it is especially egregious when it is an acting role literally designed for them. This is white supremacy in action. It's saying that non-binary people of color aren't real and don't exist and don't deserve to be in the spotlight, even if the character in question is literally a dark-skinned non-binary person. And the racists in the fandom, they see all of these posts criticizing all of this in action. It's white supremacy. It's patriarchy. Because yes, you racist fucks, it's also misogyny to use a cis white man as the default. That's just literal goddamn male default. It's white male supremacy. That's what this show is now. That's what everybody who has signed on to this show has signed up to be a part of. That's what Martha Wells is absolutely overjoyed to be helping to create. Don't you lower your ears at me. So these people see all of these posts pointing out all of the problems that this is, everything wrong with these decisions. And instead of just acting, because most of the people doing this, they're like fully grown adults. They're not even like little teenagers who don't know any better, quote unquote, don't know any better, are just so racist that they don't care. They're not even children. These are fully grown adults who are seeing whitewashing and white supremacy, white patriarchy in action, taking over what is claiming to be totally feminist, anti-racist work that's totally diverse, guys. Now just ignore the fact that the author's 100% on board with whitewashing and ciswashing. People are seeing these posts, criticizing all of this, going into detail, being very specific about why all of this is bad and not something anybody should be happy with. And they decide that they're going to ignore the whitewashing. They're going to literally do their best to pretend that they don't even know the word whitewashing exists. They will refuse to acknowledge the racism inherent to all of this, and instead they'll just deflect to saying that you only hate Alexander Skarsgård because you think all non-binary people have to be women. And that's an actual quote from some of them. It's like 5 separate people who've made that argument, showing that they are literally just cis people talking out of their ass. These fucking people, and yes, 90% of them are cis. Some of them are trans, which makes them genuinely even worse people than the cis bigots, because trans people should know better. But, you know, nobody gives a fuck about non-binary people, and they absolutely do not give a fuck about non-binary people of color. I'm just gonna keep getting off topic because there's so much shit to cover. These people are all literally acting like real non-binary people of color don't actually exist. And they will literally say this to non-binary people of color who are talking about these issues and taking the time out of their day to explain these issues to ungrateful, racist, exer-sexist white people who are then just going to turn around, ignore every single thing they had to say about the racism, and just lie about it and pretend that the only thing people are upset with is that there's so many quotes I have to make. They're claiming that we all think that Alexander Skarsgård is quote unquote too masculine, not feminine enough, is AMAB instead of AFAB, and is just all of these things. They're literally just doing biological essentialism and being exer-sexist jackasses and pretending that them defending whitewashing, them defending the literal white supremacist patriarchy in action, right before all of our eyes for everybody to see. They think that defending this by pretending the people criticizing it are the real bigots is making them look good and making them seem intelligent and like they know what they're talking about and can definitely be trusted. And then you have some of the people who will acknowledge that, yeah, Murderbot is literally a dark-skinned person of color in the books and has been the whole fucking time, but they'll still defend the white supremacy by literally just quoting white supremacist rhetoric, like literally word for word. They're literally going around claiming that if you think it's bad for a cis white man to steal jobs from actual queer people of color, that means that you are racist against white people. And I know I said this in the other video too, but I have to just keep repeating it. This is a literal argument that people are making in 2025. They are literally arguing, if you think that the white supremacist patriarchy is bad, it means you are racist and misogynistic against white people. I couldn't make this shit up if you told me to write a satire about it. Like, I know people can be racist, but I would not have believed that people in 2025 can legitimately open up their keyboard and type out, unironically, full-throatedly, that if you think white supremacy, misogyny, and patriarchy, and whitewashing, and cis-washing are bad, that it means you're the real racist and misogynist to cis white men, the real victims of racism, exer-sexism, and misogyny. This is literally where we're at right now. This is where this fandom is at, because this fandom has always coddled the feelings of white supremacists. That's why that's why you can only find out that Murderbot is a person of color with dark skin if you care enough about the series to go looking for the extra info, because Martha Wells has refused, flat out, to ever actually describe Murderbot in the book. And I said it before, maybe not in a video, I don't remember, but she's just doing this for plausible deniability, so now that when she signs on with Apple TV Plus to cast a cis white man as Murderbot, she can just use up that plausible deniability and claim that she never described Murderbot as having dark skin. It's not whitewashing. Where did she ever say that? And she'll probably pay to get all of the interviews where she said it was a dark-skinned person of color. She'll probably pay to get all of those deleted. Well, I assume she had to pay them to delete it. Like that interview where she just, for some godforsaken reason, decided to tell everybody that she doesn't even see the characters in the setting as actual people, and they're just literally just more advanced generative AI language models. Anybody remember that interview? It's surviving corporate blah blah in the Murderbot Diaries, something like that. But that interview got deleted after I read it. So it's only available on the Internet Archive and also now on my bookshelf because I printed it out. Yeah. Like, that interview got deleted because either Martha Wells or somebody on her PR team realized, oh, fuck, hey, maybe you shouldn't tell fans of the series that the characters that they like aren't actually people even within the fictional setting, so that you can get some quick fame from jumping on the coattails of generative AI being a hot button in the news. Like, what in the fuck? Why would you fucking do that? She will literally just say whatever the fuck will make her the most money and attention in the moment, and she doesn't fucking care. Like, why would you tell anybody that Murderbot is actually just a large language model and make up all this shit about it that's not even true? Like, she was claiming that the robots in the story can't, they can collect data, but they can't analyze it to come to new conclusions. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's literally what Murderbot does all the fucking time. That's what ART does all the fucking time. What are you fucking talking about? Why are you lying about your own characters? Why, like, this is basic shit that everybody who read the books knows is just the world's most weirdest lie. Like, I'm used to fans lying about books. This is the first time I've ever seen an author just flat out brazenly lie about what they've actually written. And it's like, it's kind of fucking hilarious, but it's also mind-boggling because, like, why would you fucking say that? But anyways, this interview has since been deleted, so if you want to find it, you gotta look for it on the Internet Archive. And I only found it because the Murderbot fandom wiki, with fandom in all caps, the site I hate because there's so many ads and it's obnoxious, they happen to have a link to the Internet Archive version, or maybe it was just a link to the original interview, and then I was able to put that into the Internet Archive to find the interview as it has been archived. And that day I literally wasted, I'm not even joking, 6 hours of my time scouring the internet for this interview that I could remember reading. And I literally wasted all of that time because the interview had secretly been deleted and now only exists on the Internet Archive to show that she ever said this. Well, the Internet Archive and my bookshelf, because I'm not putting up with this shit. Especially because so many people are trying to get the Wayback Machine shut down. So if that happens, then there will never be any proof that she said this random fucking lying bullshit about her books to catch some free fucking fame in the most absurd and just, there's shooting yourself in the foot, and then there's telling the fans of your book that they shouldn't actually care about the characters because they're not really people in the setting either. Like, so anyways, that tangent is because I actually have I have almost no doubts at this point. There's like a 99% chance that now that this TV show is coming out where Murderbot is played by a cis white man, maybe go back up all those interviews where Martha Wells has said that Murderbot has dark skin and is a person of color, because those will probably also get deleted, because I was looking into other stuff and it turns out Martha Wells is like, even among her fans, like her diehard fans, she is infamous for deleting things and never giving people a way to find them again. Like interviews, whole entire stories that she was sharing with people, they'll just get deleted and never be seen again. Ooh, mistakes were made. And it's just like, so if all of the interviews where Martha Wells has said that Murderbot is a person of color just abruptly get deleted from the internet and you can't find them anymore, we'll know why, because she's done this before and she'll probably do it again. Like, I literally wasted 6 hours of my life trying to find that interview, thinking I was just going insane and maybe had imagined it all. Literally typing in every possible permutation of anything relevant to that thing. And it had just been deleted. And it was not through any fault of my own that I wasted 6 hours trying to find it, only to finally find it on the fandom wiki because they happened to link to it. And if they hadn't linked to it, I would never have found it on the Wayback Machine. So, yeah, Martha Wells has said in many interviews, many Q&As, that Murderbot is a person of color with dark skin, dark brown skin. If all of those just abruptly go missing and you can't find them, we know why, don't we? It's not going to be a fucking mystery. So, but yeah, it is in fact a fact, and I will have to find them all and print them out like I did with that interview. But it is a fact that Martha Wells has been telling people for years now that Murderbot is a person of color. Because she wants to pretend to be progressive. She wants to pretend that her story is not just another white supremacist story about white supremacy, where white people are the norm and everybody's white and blah blah blah. She wanted to pretend that that wasn't the case. So she just tells people in all of these interviews outside the books that Murderbot is a person of color with dark brown skin. It's totally representing real minorities. It's not just another cis white man. Except now that it's time for her to, what? Okay, we're good. Now that it's time for her to make that sweet, sweet $1 trillion evil corporation cash. Now it's totally fine. We should all be totally excited by whitewashing and ciswashing and a literal cis white man being cast as Murderbot. And we shouldn't be upset about the racism because undoubtedly, at least some of those interviews are going to get deleted. And you will only be able to find them on my bookshelf or the Wayback Machine or the few diehard fans who actually give enough fucks to go looking for this shit where they have saved it to Google Docs or something. Martha Wells is notorious for deleting things and hiding evidence, is what I'm saying. Like, she's done this before. She's done it multiple times with multiple things. So, genuinely, don't be surprised if all of this proof of Murderbot being a person of color just disappears. And I didn't even think of that possibility before this video, but yeah, that's probably what's going to happen now. And and now, yeah, despite all of these years of telling us that she's progressive, she cares about other people, she cares about representing minorities, she doesn't just want to write about white people, but now, as soon as that exact thing is what is going to make her more money, she's 100% on board with it. She's fine. She's made multiple posts endlessly praising the show and everybody involved, including the literal rich cis white man who's whitewashing her character, and expects us to shovel out our money to pay Apple, the evil corporation, a subscription so we can watch this shitty racist show. And I forget all the stuff I've already said, but again, I cannot stress enough. This show's racist. It's whitewashing. Whitewashing is racist. It is inherently racist and literally always will be. And it's not just racism, it's literal white supremacy in action. And when you cast a cis white man in the role of a non-binary person of color, that is literal. The literal capital letters. White patriarchy in action. That is the cis, het, white patriarchy. That's the thing that the Murderbot Diaries is supposed to be pushing back against by having all of these completely tokenized and cardboard flat characters with diverse names. That's why there are 8 whole entire other characters for you to keep track of in just book 1 alone, because they are literally just tokenized people of color, some of whom don't even bother to come back in later stories. And then the fandom, even with all of these characters of color, the fandom still managed to latch onto the one of them, Dr. Girthin, that they have enough plausible deniability to pretend that he's the Aryan ideal of a white man so that they can ship him with Murderbot because they're white supremacists at heart. And also hate Arrow Ace people and also non-binary people. And literally everybody. They hate everybody who's not another white supremacist, because the people who whitewash Dr. Girthin to pretend he's the literal goddamn Aryan ideal white man, they also do the same thing to Murderbot. They will literally whitewash and misgender Murderbot to pretend it is a white man to ship with this other whitewashed man, so they can just do their Ghosts of Fandoms Past MLM ship that is completely unrecognizable from anything in canon, because fandom is filled with white supremacists. And I don't remember if I made a video about this specifically, but it really, really needs to be said. A whole lot of queer people, a whole lot of white queer people are actually 100% fine with white supremacy. The only reason they pretend not to be okay with it is because their shitty uncle or father, etc., is a openly white supremacist and also hates gay people. So they have to pretend that they don't like white supremacy, literally just out of spite for their homophobic family members. But when push comes to shove and it comes time to actually do anything to support people of color, especially black people, there's crickets, because they're literally just pretending to be against white supremacy to spite their homophobic family members. If their family members weren't openly homophobic and loudly homophobic, they would have no problem with the white supremacy. Because at the end of the day, they still want white people, especially cis white men. Or white men in general. But it's mostly fucking cis people doing this. I haven't explicitly seen any trans men defending this bullshit. They want cis white people, especially cis white men, to stay the default. They want cis white men to stay the most privileged and centered people in society. They have absolutely no problem with white supremacy. They only have a problem with their homophobic, bigoted family members who are openly white supremacists. So, to them, pretending to care about not being a white supremacist is literally just how they get back at these shitty family members. They don't actually care, though. They don't actually want to stop white supremacy. They don't want to take down the fucking patriarchy. They want to uphold and keep all of the privileges that white supremacy gives them, especially the cis men. They only want to look progressive, to piss off their bigoted family members. But they still want to be given the first food at the table. They still want to be given all of the privileges that come along with being a cis white man. They just want to pretend that they're totally not. That they are. They literally just do it to get back at their bigoted family members. And now when it comes time to just do the bare minimum of acknowledge that whitewashing is bad and racist, they can't do it. Because if they did that, they would actually have to take a stand against white supremacy. They would actually have to say, yeah, I don't deserve special privileges because of the color of my skin or because I'm a man. They don't want to do any of this. And yes, this also goes for white women. It goes for all queer white people. Yes, including trans people, including non-binary people, including women. There are so many white supremacist, white queer people. And they literally just, at the drop of a fucking hat, as soon as a person of color explains racism to them, or tells them they're doing something racist, or says that something that they enjoy is racist, the fucking gloves come off, the pretense ends, and they are out here spouting the exact same shit any random conservative would. Oh, well, okay, we survived that. Okay. Okay, we're just gonna sleep here, I guess. As soon as it comes time to do something as absolutely basic, as so effortless as acknowledging that casting Alexander Skarsgård to play Murderbot is racist, is white supremacist, is just basic whitewashing. Now that's too much for them because they don't want to actually do that. Because in their fantasies, they want to be given all of the roles. They want to be given all of the privileged positions. They only pretend to be against white supremacy. Well, to piss off their bigoted family members. It is literally effortless. It requires no effort at all to acknowledge that it's racist to cast a white man to play a person of color and a character of color that has always, yeah, I think we can survive this. It is racist to refuse to acknowledge that this is racist, and it costs zero effort. Okay, we're good. It doesn't require you to write a whole entire essay. You don't have to record a 2.5 hour long video for YouTube. You don't have to do anything except just say on Blue Sky, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. All you gotta do is say that the show is racist. It's whitewashing. It is upholding white supremacy. It could take 5 seconds. You could literally just say, the Murderbot TV show by Apple is upholding white supremacy. That's all you'd gotta do. They're upholding white supremacy, patriarchy, by casting a cis white man in the role of a non-binary person of color. It can be that simple. Just type it out. Say it if you're on TikTok. It doesn't really matter. Literally all you gotta do is just acknowledge the racism. But this fandom is filled with white supremacists who would rather fucking die than acknowledge the racism. So when they do discuss the casting choices, they just do it in a few ways. A, they will acknowledge that it's a white man, but pretend that it's just because white men are actually the most competent writers, authors, actors ever to exist. So therefore, he only got the job because he was the most qualified, because people of color are incompetent. And then they'll say something, if you think, why would you want to force a person of color to suffer through a role like this? And it's just like, what are you fucking talking about? And like, they'll just say all of this bullshit, and I forget where I was going with this. I had a specific example. Crap. But yeah, it's just so much fucking racism. It's so much fucking white supremacy and just blatant misogyny, worship of cis white men on display, and these people have absolutely no fucking shame about it. Yeah, I had a specific example that I forgot. Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, it doesn't take a lot of effort to just acknowledge this, but they don't want to do that. They would literally rather die. So instead, they just go off on all of these, literally just repeating white supremacy verbatim and pretending that this means it's somehow defending the white supremacy instead of just repeating it again. I guess we gotta kill one of these guys. Oh, we do have an elk carcass up there. I guess we can just run to that. I'm still trying to remember my specific example. I almost remembered it, and then I forgot again. Oh, here they are. What the heck was it? There's like so many examples of the racism. It's hard to remember them all. And I had a specific one. Okay, I said they do the thing where they pretend that white men are just inherently more competent, and that's the only reason that there's whitewashing going on. They'll claim that you're racist against white people. They'll claim you're the real misogynist because white men are the real victims of misogyny. I'm not even joking. They literally think that cis white men are the victims of misogyny and need the most defending from misogyny. They'll pretend that this is actually the progressive choice because forcing a person of color to act out this role would just be too traumatic for them. And it's like, what are you fucking talking about? This isn't the specific example, but like, what the fuck are you talking about? This series is not serious at all, no matter how much the author lies to you about it on Dreamwidth or something. She's on there just really saying even more really blatant lies about what she wrote, and it's like, it's people can literally read the words. You can't just lie to people about really basic shit like this. But yeah, the series is not serious. It's not grim, it's not dark. It's a literal light-hearted comedy. That's what it has always been. It's got some serious moments, but usually they're completely undercut instantly by lighthearted jokes about how everybody is such a cute little pure cinnamon roll. And as we said before in my other video, cute cinnamon roll slave owners, because it's slavery apologism. But people are acting like whitewashing the character is actually good, because otherwise the role would be too traumatic for a person of color, even though it's literally not a serious story at all and is in fact extremely lighthearted. And we're gonna die unless they're just sitting there. It's extremely lighthearted. It's not anything that is even remotely going to traumatize anybody that acts it out, unless their literal co-workers are just being racist, a thing that happens often in Hollywood. But instead of acknowledging any of this racism, which these people refuse to do, they just, like I said, they just deflect. They pretend not to have read a single word about the racism. They will pretend they don't know what the word whitewashing is or that it even exists. They will even reply to a specific post specifically talking about the racism, and they will just ignore all of that, pretend it's not there, pretend it doesn't exist, and instead just insist that you're only mad because you're the real exor-sexist. And it's cis people doing this. Literally cis people cis-splaining what it means to be non-binary and what it means to be exor-sexist to non-binary people so that they can pretend all of the people criticizing the whitewashing, the white supremacy are the real bigots. And did I mention these people are unironically arguing that if you are upset by cis heteropatriarchy, white supremacy in action, it means you're a misogynist towards cis white men because you're judging Alexander Skarsgård, the rich cis white guy, because of his skin color and his gender. So that means you're racist against white people and you're a misogynist towards cis white men. That's the argument many people are going with, like literally so many people. They're literally just doing white supremacy and pretending that white people are the real victims of all bigotry, and especially cis white men are the real victims of all the bigotry they systemically perpetuate against everybody else. And there's another type of reaction that people will have to this casting decision, this white supremacist patriarchal casting decision, and they'll turn it into a joke. They'll just make a racist joke about it and pretend that it being a joke means it's not racist. Because I guess in 2025 we're pretending that racist jokes are okay and bigoted jokes are okay because we're trying to travel backwards in time apparently to, like, people are literally doing the white comedian you can't say anything these days routine and pretending it's progressive and anti-racist. And oh, I thought I had scent view on it. No, it's just black and white because of the snow. Like, they're literally, it's just beyond absurd. I can't even really describe it. It's just so fucking ridiculous. So this other reaction to turn it all into a racist joke, it comes in so far 6 different flavors. Well, no, I've seen it, hold on. I've seen it like a dozen times from a dozen different people, and it comes in like 6, hold on, I had math. You can see it in like a dozen different examples so far that I've seen so far. I have absolutely no doubt there are more, but there will be people who will defend it and make it into a racist joke by saying that the whitewashing is good and the casting decision is good because, quote unquote, it's what the character would want. They're making the argument that it's okay for Murderbot to be cis-washed and whitewashed because Murderbot, if you've read the books, doesn't like people looking at it. It's the meme of do not perceive me. It doesn't want people to look at it, doesn't want people to pay attention to it. So their argument is, and their quote-unquote joke, their racist joke, is that it's okay to whitewash and cis-wash Murderbot because Murderbot wouldn't want you to see what it really looks like. So they're using in-universe character traits to justify real-world white supremacist patriarchy. And they're pretending that if they say this like it's a funny, cute joke, if they pretend that it's cute that Murderbot has been whitewashed and cis-washed, turning the show into a white savior suffers from fucking reverse racism from a DEI cast. Because that's how white supremacists are gonna see this show, the open white supremacists, that is. Then somehow this makes it all okay if they pretend that this is what the character secretly wants. There's many variations on this quote-unquote joke. I mean, it is a joke, but because they are intending it to be a joke, but it's literally just a fucking racist joke. They are trying to rehabilitate the white supremacy and pretend that it's actually progressive because it's what the character would want, and that makes it okay. That's one of the versions. Another version that I just encountered today is saying that this Murderbot adaptation is actually a sequel to, I don't remember what the other show is called, Severance or something, whatever. Maybe not Severance, whatever other show Alexander Skarsgård did, whatever it is, whatever that is. They're pretending that it's actually a good casting choice because this is actually secretly a sequel to this other show that the rich cis white man who's whitewashing and stealing roles from people of color was presumably the lead in. So that makes it okay. Again, because they're justifying real world white supremacist patriarchy in action for everybody to see by pretending that it's actually cool and okay. And they're rehabilitating it by saying it's actually a cool crossover because they cloned Alexander Skarsgård's other character to make this setting or something fucking ridiculous like that has, it's like, and then when you call these people out for this, and these are just two specific examples. Well, that one's a specific example. Another one was like, what was it? It was saying, oh, another example of this general trend is that the Murderbot Diaries show by Apple is okay that they cis-washed and whitewashed Murderbot because this is all actually either fan fiction by Murderbot of the rise and fall of Sanctuary Moon, which doesn't even make sense. That's not how. That's it's fucking ridiculous. That's or that this is a us watching a documentary made in universe by Murderbot, who has, again, in similar with the first example, has whitewashed and ciswashed itself, this time to gain sympathy, because pretending that it's impossible to sympathize with queer people of color we're pretending that's progressive instead of an exceptionally racist thing to say. And all of these things are being portrayed as, ha ha ha, isn't that such a funny, cute little joke? What a cute idea. Isn't this headcanon so quaint? Give me 1,000 notes. It's so cute. And it's like, you're literally just, when you make posts like this, you are defending the white supremacy. You are defending the whitewashing. You are literally rehabilitating the whitewashing and pretending it's actually progressive and it's just funny and cute. And people are like literally just making up conspiracy theory style headcanons to justify this and pretend it's actually good. And it's like, you're just fucking being racist. There is no descriptor for what you're doing besides racism. And then when you tell these people that what they're doing is racist and defending racism, they'll just like get so offended, like you shot their fucking dog in front of them, and they'll be like, why are you being so aggressive? It's my cute little, it's just a simple headcanon post. I'm just making a joke. And it's like, yeah, the exact same way open, out and proud white supremacists make racist jokes and then get mad when you tell them it's racist and not okay. Again, whole shit ton of white queer people and just regular white people are actually white supremacists. They are just, as I like to say in regards to the white queer people in particular, they're just in the closet about it. So they can pretend to be progressive, pretend to care about other people, until it comes time to actually do literally anything to actually fight white supremacy, like doing the bare goddamn minimum of acknowledging that whitewashing is bad. It's racist. It's upholding white supremacy. They won't even do that much. And not even just not doing that much, they're actively going out of their way to defend the white supremacy. They're going out of their way to lie about what people are actually saying when they criticize the white supremacy. They are attacking people for criticizing the white supremacy. They are white supremacists, but they want to pretend they're not, to spite their bigoted family members. They won't do something as simple as say, whitewashing is racist. They literally have no fucking problem with it. The only thing they have a problem with in regards to whitewashing is that people who are actually not racist and actively anti-racist won't stop fucking annoying them about it. That's it. They would not blink twice about this casting decision if it weren't for all of the people actually talking about it. And now that they are, they have to feel the need to chime in with even more fucking racism, even more extra-sexism. Like, they're literally just repeating white supremacist rhetoric, the exact same white supremacist rhetoric that their bigoted family members say, and pretending it's fine this time because they're queer. So that makes it okay. And it's like, you people are fucking beyond belief. What is wrong with you? And I do have to say this, but white supremacy should be a deal breaker for you. I can't believe I have to say this, but white people, white queer people included, you should actually be upset by whitewashing. A show that is whitewashing the protagonist. Show, movie, comic book, literally any kind of visual media, or even descriptive media. Because this fandom has just been whitewashing Murderbot in fanfictions for forever, and I have gone out of my way not to read them, because I fucking hate fandom these days. Oh. Any whitewashing should be a deal breaker for you. You are literally morally obligated to have a problem with whitewashing. Whitewashing, as I said in probably the first video I made in this series, whitewashing is not just a cutesy little harmless thing that people on the internet get upset about. It doesn't fucking exist in a vacuum. White supremacy wouldn't exist. Or whitewashing wouldn't exist if white supremacy didn't exist, because whitewashing is actively used to uphold white supremacy. This is a story about a slave escaping slavery, fighting back, and reclaiming its own personhood. And instead of being about the person of color that we were all told this character was for years now, so that the author could pretend she gives a fuck about anybody but other white people, and now that role is going to a cis white man. The literal most privileged, a rich cis white man at that. Not even some unknown fucker. It's a literal rich cis white man. One of the most privileged people you can possibly be. And this fandom is just doubling down endlessly and defending it. And if they're not defending it, they'll act like they'll literally die if they even acknowledge that there's a problem at all. Like, those are the two stances that 99.9% of the white people in this fandom have taken. Either they defend it tooth and nail by pretending that white men, cis white men, are actually the most oppressed people in the world. Actually, literally just mansplaining, white-splaining, cis-splaining to all of the actual fucking minorities. and pretending that they are the actual most oppressed people in existence, cis white men. Or they will just absolutely refuse to acknowledge any aspect of the racism at all. They will not acknowledge anything that people are upset about with the casting unless they're being extra sexist and lying about what the non-binary people criticizing it are criticizing. Those are the two options if you're a fucking white supremacist. You either openly and actively defend the white supremacy, or you pretend that there's no such thing as racism at all and you will not acknowledge it if your life depended on it. And then you have the few other white people who actually give a fuck about not being racist and will actually talk about this shit in no uncertain terms. It's literally not difficult. All you have to fucking do is actually give a fuck about not being racist. It's literally fucking effortless. All you gotta do is fucking actually be anti-racist. Just fucking admit that whitewashing is racist. Just admit that this show is whitewashing the protagonist. Just admit that this show is now going to be a white supremacist dream where a white man, a white savior, is suffering from literal reverse racism by a DEI cast, because that's how white supremacists are gonna see this show. That's how they're going to see the people of color that are tokenized into it. They're going to see it as a literal DEI cast, and they're going to see that these people of color, this diverse cast of non-white people and non-cis men, they're going to see that these brown people are oppressing the cis white man and keeping the white man enslaved. And it's literally just going to be a white supremacist, white savior dream, because that's what they've made it by taking the non-binary, dark-skinned protagonist who is not white and turning it into a cis white man. That's what happens when you change the context of the character. You can't actually take a white character and make them a person of color and not change the context of how they interact with white people, because racism exists. And you can't do it in reverse. You can't take a story about a dark-skinned, non-binary person of color fighting against slavery, fighting to free themselves from slavery, and fighting to have their own personhood recognized. I'm saying they here in the plural as a hypothetical, not about Murderbot specifically. But you can't take a story about somebody escaping slavery and fighting to be seen as a person and then just give this role to a rich cis white man while keeping all of the rest of the cast diverse people of color and not completely and utterly change the context for that story, because now you've just made it reverse racism. And again, the fandom will either defend this tooth and nail, like cis white men are the most endangered species on the planet and the most misunderstood and malaligned, and all of this shit. Literally, it's unbelievable. And these are all fully grown adults. Like I said, it's not like little 10-year-olds who should not be on the internet unsupervised. It's literal fully grown adults spewing literal white supremacist rhetoric verbatim and pretending that it's actually the progressive and anti-racist move to make. They're literally just couching literal white supremacy and pretending that it's good for minorities everywhere, but most especially it's good for the non-binary actors of color. And also they're all literally pretending that there is no actual such thing as a non-binary person of color in real life, so therefore it's the whitewashing is good, because otherwise they would have had no choice. And I'm not even joking. Some of their arguments is that if they couldn't cast a cis white man, then they wouldn't have been able to cast anybody, because they would have had no choice but to use AI to voice and act the role, because there's There's no actual non-binary person of color who could actually do the job. I'm not even joking. They're arguing that saying whitewashing is bad is the same thing as saying, like, they're literally just pretending that black and brown people don't exist outside of fantasy. They're acting like it would literally be physically impossible to find a person of color to play Murderbot, and especially a non-binary person of color, as though non-binary black and brown people literally don't exist and are just a fantasy made up in Martha Wells' head. Like, legitimately, people are arguing this, and they will say this right to actual non-binary people of color who are criticizing all of this bigotry, and they won't fucking give a crap because they're white supremacists. They're white supremacists being coddled by white supremacists, which now includes the author, Martha Wells, who is 100,000% on board with all of this. She's fine with the whitewashing. She's fine with the dick jokes that they're putting into the show from the trailer. She's fine with all of it. She literally is telling us on, what's it fucking called? Dream Sky? I don't fucking know. There's too many goddamn things these days. She's telling people to go and buy an Apple subscription to watch the show. She wants you to hand your hard-earned money that you could be spending on groceries over to Apple TV Plus to pay for the show that's whitewashing and cis-washing your favorite character, the character that she created and has been telling us all is an actual minority for years now, to pretend like she gives a fuck about anybody besides other white people, other cis white people. And she's done nothing but defend the show, even when fans express dismay about, the whitewashing, the blatant exorcism. She just keeps doubling down and defending it and saying she's been on board since before it was even announced and is 100% happy with all of it and couldn't be more overjoyed to be part of such an amazing, fantastic project. She's a fucking white supremacist, people. She literally just pretended to care about fucking anybody besides cis white people, when that would mean that her books got more attention by people who want to read about characters that represent themselves. But now, as soon as, cashing in on the white supremacy makes her more money, she's doing that. She could not be fucking more happy. And I know there's going to be people who are going to say, like, well, she has to because legal reasons. It's like, no. And even if we pretend that she literally had no other choice but to support the show, you know what she could do if we pretend she actually gives a shit, which she doesn't? There's that one quote that's like, when somebody tells you who they are, believe them, or something like that. Yeah, when your favorite author spends how many posts telling you that she 1000% supports the whitewashed, cis-washed, now white supremacist savior show, yeah, you gotta just stop giving her the benefit of the doubt. Also, never letting anybody forget the fact that she would literally rather defend the OG British colonizers than just own up to the fact that she used racist tropes in her books of the Raxura series. I know I said that before, but I have to repeat it again, because I'm never getting over it, and I'm never fucking forgiving her for this shit. Old cis white men in 2010 and 2011 were talking about, you can find them on YouTube, talking about how it's a racist trope, on all of these racist tropes, and then Martha Wells in 2011 just went gung-ho with all of the racist tropes she could get her hands on, and in 2025, she's still defending the racism that she wrote on purpose, and would literally rather defend British colonization and claim that British colonization wasn't racist than just own up to the fact that she used racist tropes. Martha Wells is not fucking progressive. She's not a nice old white lady who's doing the right thing. She's just another fucking She's just another fucking racist. She does all of the fucking tropes that everybody hates J.K. Rowling for, but because Martha Wells hasn't come out and said she hates trans people yet, people just ignore everything. And I know I keep saying this, but I have to keep repeating it. She has done the exact same happy slave trope that everybody rightfully hates J.K. Rowling for. She has done it multiple times. She is continuing it in the Murderbot Diaries now in 2025. And we're all just supposed to be fine with it. And she is 100% on board with this show. And if we pretend for the fucking devil's advocate, white supremacist advocate people that are definitely thinking this, but what if she is legally required to be positive about the show and they said they'd kill her family if she said any word of criticism? If we entertain that bullshit for 5 seconds, here's an answer. If I'll put myself in this position. If I were legally obligated to post positivity about white supremacist shit, which I would literally rather die than do, if we just pretend that she has no choice but to keep doubling down in defense of the white supremacy and extra-sexism, if we pretend, then you know what she could do? She could just make a million sock puppet accounts all over the internet and just pretend not to be Martha Wells. And just use those sock puppet accounts. Hold on, there's a motorcycle out front. Might not even be audible on here, but it's loud. They're just gonna casually stroll on by. If we entertain the idea that Martha Wells just has no choice, she's just a helpless victim in all of this. Now ignore all the rest of the racist shit she's written. Who else could we possibly be fighting with? She could just make so many sock puppet accounts and flood the internet with hate in her own words about the racism and extra sexism, and just use sock puppet names to pretend that it's not her, to get around the pretend loophole of, oh, they'll kill her family and throw her in jail for life if she says anything against the show, which isn't actually what's going on, because she's literally just a fucking racist. I'm sorry, Martha Wells stands. You do have to fucking acknowledge it. You will be happier when you stop trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. She doesn't deserve it. She doesn't get any second chances after saying that she didn't use a racist trope, because if you think she used a racist trope, then that means you think the original British colonizers were racist. And that's not true, so therefore she didn't use a racist trope. I'm never getting over that. I'm never letting anybody forget it. I do have to print those oh shit, I gotta print those ones out, because those will probably get deleted too. Maybe she'll, I don't know. I would love to know how much it costs to like convince somebody who did an interview with you to delete the interview, because I know websites make money from getting the traffic, and I know that website would still be getting money from that interview from me visiting it and sending other people to it. So like, how much did she have to pay, or her PR team, whatever, how much did they have to pay to get that interview where she said they're just large language models that are better at fooling people? How much did it cost to get that interview taken down? Because now at this rate, with me pointing it out, I won't be surprised if the interview where the reviews singing her praise that defend British colonization that she chose to spotlight and sing praise for, I wouldn't be surprised if those miraculously disappear soon too, never to be seen except the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine. Like, how much would she have to pay the person who posted the reviews? Do you think she would rather keep them up? And I'm just gonna get so sidetracked, because she's going to be reprinting Emily in the Hollow World, her other fantasy series. She's gonna be reprinting that soon, and it's gonna get republished. And I know I said this before, but like, Is this republishing going to come with removing the racist fucking shit from them? Because this is the series that I've talked about where uh, all of the characters are ambiguously brown, just like they are in the Murderbot Diaries, so that she can pretend she cares about people who are not just more cis white people, like she's done with the Murderbot Diaries and is proving she doesn't actually give a fuck. This is the series where there's a character, and she's an ambiguously fantasy brown girl in a country populated by ambiguously fantasy brown people. And we see the villain at, like, near the end of the book after never appearing, and we found out that the villain is a white guy. And it's like, okay, yeah, fine, cool, that's fine. Reversing the tropes is good. But then she immediately ruins this by having the ambiguously brown girl think, and this is clearly just Martha Wells inserting her own racism into the story, unironically, with zero awareness. She has the ambiguously brown girl think that the white man, the white villain, looks like a posh gentleman. But meanwhile, the captain of the ship, a brown man, looks like he could work in the field all day without a break. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. I've said this over and over again, but like, again, when she republishes Emily in the Hollow World, is she gonna edit out this line? Is she gonna bury this and pretend it didn't happen, or is she just gonna double down and pretend it's actually not racist at all? At this point, she's probably just gonna do both. Gonna pretend it's not racist at all, and she will insert a caricature of everybody who's ever said it was racist, because, oh, so you think brown people have to be physically weak or something like that. Stargate is like one of her favorite things ever. That's why there's so many murder references to it in the Murderbot Diaries, and I said this before. But Stargate, U.S. military propaganda, the TV show, really loves making caricatures of people who have a problem with war crimes. Well, they'll introduce us to a character clearly embarrassingly misogynistic or something else that's really easy to think as a bad thing. It's like they're not just, like regular misogynists. They're like the embarrassing kind of misogynist that nobody likes, not even other misogynists, because they're so obnoxious about it. They'll introduce us to characters like this, and then have these characters be the ones who have a problem with the protagonists committing literal war crimes, violating the Geneva Convention, experimenting on and torturing characters to death. And Stargate loves having these characters be caricatures so that they look absolutely ridiculous, and they're treated as ridiculous, so that when they say, hey, war crimes are bad in the U.S. military propaganda show, they can claim, through this character being the only misogynist we ever see, that war crimes are actually great, and they're not war crimes because it's for the greater good, and they hate women. So yeah, and Martha Wells does this all the fucking time. She does this a lot in her writing, and it's really fucking clear, especially once you reread them and see the criticism that she's been getting since day one, because she has admitted that she's known about all of the slavery apologism and racism in the Murderbot Diaries since she published the first book, because people have been coming to her and talking about it to her. And instead of fixing any of it, she just keeps doubling down and insisting, if you think that's slavery apologism, you're just stupid and don't know how to read and are bad at reading on purpose. And it's just absurd. She would literally rather defend British colonization than admit that she did racist tropes and used racist stereotypes in a book she wrote in 2011. She would rather insult every member of her audience who gives a fuck about her characters that she wants us to pay her money for because we care about them than just anything. She would rather do slavery apologism and double down on the slavery apologism than just not do slavery apologism. And now she is defending the white supremacist TV show produced by the trillionaire company Apple, the people who are infamous for being a capitalist fucking nightmare corporation. And again, you can't actually force somebody to be nothing but positive and double down on defending white supremacy. But even if we pretend that Martha Wells has just no choice, she's just an innocent little victim in all of this, again, there would be literally nothing stopping her from just making sock puppet accounts and criticizing the bigotry that way. But considering I've seen maybe a dozen people total criticizing all of the racism in this series and the racism in this casting choice, that's not happening because Martha Wells is just another racist white person. She is just another white supremacist who wants to con you out of your money, pretending that she gives a fuck about you by tokenizing you, and then will let you get whitewashed as soon as that will make her more money than stealing from you. And the fandom just keeps eating it up. The fandom is overjoyed by all of this because the fandom is filled with white supremacists. And they, as I said, they'll either defend it tooth and nail by literally just repeating white supremacist rhetoric verbatim, pretending that cis white men are actually the most oppressed people in the world, or they will staunchly, absolutely fucking refuse to acknowledge that there's a racism aspect or even any racial aspect at all to any of this. At all. Even when it makes them look absolutely fucking absurd because they are responding to a post explicitly about that and refusing to touch on any of that at all. This fandom is filled with racists. The author is racist. And I shouldn't even be saying racists because they are specifically white supremacists. It's a white supremacist author who has betrayed everything that this book series pretended to stand for. Like, literally, this book series has been pretending this whole time for almost a fucking decade now. We're 2 years away from the 10-year anniversary of the first book. It came out in 2017. And she's spent all of this time conning people into thinking that she's one of us. She cares about feminism. She cares about anti-racism. She cares about trans and non-binary people, and she's just been lying through her fucking teeth this whole entire time. That's why all of the explicit non-binary human characters exist for like 2 minutes of screen time in the screen lingo. I'm not bothering to count how many pages it is. They exist for the equivalent of 2 minutes of screen time, just enough to get the hopes of little kids up who desperately want to see themselves, and then they immediately get shoved off screen and are never seen again. Because she is just another cis bigot who hates trans people, except she's smart enough to be quiet about it, and that's why Murderbot is non-binary in the first place. It's literally the biologically essentialist stereotype. Murderbot is non-binary because it has no genitals, because Martha Wells has not become any more progressive since she wrote the books of the Raksura before 2011, because that was when it got published. That's not the same thing as when it was written. She has always, for decades now, been equating sex with gender, with pronouns. These are all the exact same thing in her mind. That is why Murderbot is non-binary. That's also why it is Arrow Ace. You can't have a sexuality if you don't have genitals. That's just basic biological essentialism, and she thinks that's a good thing. She thinks the only way you can be non-binary is to have literal no genitals, because that, in her mind, equates to not having a sex, not having a gender. That's why every single fucking robot we have met in this series is using the exact same pronouns, its, as Murderbot. It's because they are all literally just assigned non-binary because they don't have a sex. Because Martha Wells is fucking cis-sexist. She just literally bases gender upon sex. That's why none of the human characters are trans or non-binary. That's why the few explicitly non-binary human characters are just literally shoved off screen as soon as the fucking 2 minutes of screen time are up. And just occurred to me that might even happen in the show, and if it does, I will think it's fucking funny, because you'll just see how bigoted it will be, because if we see non-binary characters in the show that are human, that use neo-pronouns, with this show, I can guarantee it will literally just be nothing but extra sexist jokes the whole time. They might even literally pull the I identify as an attack helicopter joke. I wouldn't be shocked. Have you seen the trailer? Because I saw it against my will, and they're literally making dick jokes about Murderbot. And it's like, how can any of you be excited for this shit show? It's a literal shit show. It's just the fact that we need to tell people that you should draw the line at whitewashing. You should inherently fucking feel nothing but disgust and contempt for whitewashing in any series or thing that does it is just fucking absurd. Like, hi, white fans. If something is whitewashing, you should hate it on principle, because that's how being actually anti-racist works. You should literally draw the line at whitewashing. You should not be doing the literal fucking meme of I can excuse racism, because that is what you are all fucking doing. You are all doing the meme of I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at, and whatever other petty little fucking thing that the show is doing that you think is bad. Like, yeah, why are you pretending to be shocked that the inherently fucking racist show that has been racist from the start also hates lesbians and aro ace people? Like, why are you pretending to be shocked about this? You are literally the one who fucking said that you were fine with the racism. You now don't get to be upset when there's more bigotry. Like, either you actually hold the goddamn line and take a fucking stand, or you shut the fuck up. Especially fucking people who are mad about the arrow asymmesia all of a sudden with the dick jokes about Murderbot. It's like, this whole fandom has been running rampant with hatred for arrow ace people for years now, with nothing but defense for it, including by other arrow ace people. Like, this whole entire fandom would literally rather attack arrow ace people than just respect one single fictional character's sexuality. But now people are pretending that the only bad thing with the show is that they're making dick jokes about Murderbot. And it's like, yeah, that is bad, but like, why is that the only problem you have? Why is that where you draw the line? Why can you excuse racism? Why can you excuse racism, but you draw the line at making dick jokes about the arrow ace character? You have no problem with anything else, but this is what you get upset about. It's like fandom doesn't really seem to fucking grasp that if everybody in this fandom actually had morals and had fucking staged a massive goddamn uproar from the moment any of this was announced, this could have changed. Maybe not. Maybe even probably not, but something could have been fucking done about this if literally every fucking fan of this book, or at least the majority of them, had just given enough fucks about black and brown people and non-binary people, had just cared enough to make a statement, to protest, to cancel their fucking Apple subscriptions, to cancel whatever pre-orders they have for the next Murderbot book. I don't even know if that's a thing. Like, it doesn't have to be this way. But this whole fandom guaranteed that this is what would happen. You could have all absolutely thrown a fucking shit fit and been loud and protested and made it a goddamn issue. The fucking Sonic movie redid the entire goddamn animation after unveiling that nightmare and receiving backlash. What do you think the Murderbot Diaries fandom could have fucking accomplished if everybody in this fandom had actually given enough fucks about fighting white supremacy to make a stink when this was first announced, instead of defending it over and over and over again? And doubling down endlessly and pretending that we need to give it the benefit of the doubt and pretending that this is actually the most progressive thing you could possibly do. Who fucking knows? We will never find out what could have been, because this fandom is filled with white supremacists and they don't fucking care. They literally do not care. But now they want to pretend that the aroasomisia in the show is completely shocking and comes out of nowhere. And it's like, you already fucking threw black and brown and non-binary people under the bus. You have already decided to die on the hill of defending white supremacy. Why are you acting surprised when the white supremacist bigots who hate non-binary people and black and brown people also hate aroace people? Why are you pretending this is a surprise? Especially because I know for a fact that these people will still continue to do nothing about the aroasomisia that runs rampant in this fandom. They will still double down and defend people shipping Murderbot and writing porn of Murderbot. They will just keep defending that tooth and nail. But now they're going to pretend that it's just completely surprising and who could have ever seen this coming? And it's like, yeah, everybody who actually cares about being anti-racist saw this coming. Did you think they were gonna whitewash the dark-skinned protagonist and misgender the non-binary protagonist and not also fuck with its fucking aroace identity? Did you think they were gonna... do you think they're racist? I'm not confused. I'm confused by what's happening. Oh, they're here. Like, did you people think that they hate black and brown people and they hate non-binary people, but they totally love you, aroace people? Like, what is wrong with you? Why? Look at this wolf, it's got a short tail. Why? It's literally the meme of, I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at aroasomisia. And it's like, you should have actually had fucking solidarity with all the people standing up against the racism. You can't pretend that this has just come out of nowhere when the show has been racist and extra sexist from the start, and you and everybody else has just been defending it the whole time. Especially, again, I know that these people are not, they don't care about the bigotry in the fandom. They're just gonna defend it and say, oh, just ship and let ship. Don't read, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, if you won't protest white supremacy, you literally don't get to act surprised when the white supremacists also come for your sexuality next. Because, like, I'm just fucking in disbelief. I don't remember what else I wanted to say. Might have said it all for once. But yeah, I will have to restate once again. If you're in this fandom, if you've ever read any of these books, even if you're not even in the fandom, just go fucking share posts about it. Share posts about the racism. You don't have to even be in the fandom to talk about and criticize the blatant white supremacist patriarchy bullshit going on here. You don't have to be in the fandom to criticize whitewashing and ciswashing. But especially if you're white and you're in this fandom, you do actually have a moral obligation to criticize this bigotry. You have a moral obligation to protest the white supremacy. We could have had a world where this entire fandom had come together when this was all first announced and protested in every fucking way conceivable. It's fucking capitalism, people. You vote with your fucking dollar. You could have all canceled your goddamn Apple subscriptions, or at least fucking threatened to, even if you don't have one, to make them scared. You could have told all of your friends and family to cancel their subscriptions. You could have made this fucking corporation lose money, and you could have made them afraid of losing more. You could have fucking pressured Martha Wells into disavowing all of this white supremacy. You could have done something, because even if none of these attempts to fix this shit had succeeded, you would have all still done literally anything besides defending it. You don't have to win the fucking fight to fucking win the fight. You just have to fucking try. And this fandom is so filled with white supremacists that they didn't even try. They just insisted we all have to fucking give the goddamn white supremacist show a break and give it the benefit of the doubt, because otherwise, again, I said it in the other video, this fandom acts like if they don't get a racist TV show produced by Apple, then they'll never get a TV show, and they act like that's the same thing as like the end of the fucking world. This fandom could have come together. Every single fucking person with morals in this fandom could have come together to refuse all of this, anything to do with it. We could have gotten fucking an actual non-binary character of color, non-binary actor of color to play this fucking non-binary character of color. We could have actually fucking done something. But 99% of the people in this fandom are white supremacists, and they are happy to be so. So instead of getting the timeline where we all fucking banded together to fucking fight against white supremacist patriarchy, instead we now have this, where the author, who has been fucking tokenizing us all for decades now and pretending she gives a fuck about us, she's just telling us all to give Apple our money and just acting like there's nothing wrong here at all, and still pretending that the series is anti-capitalist despite her willingly teaming up, and she cannot tell us enough how willingly she is doing all of this. And we're just supposed to be fine with it all. This is what all of this fucking fandom has brought upon us. Maybe we wouldn't have been able to change anything, but it would have made the fandom a better place. It would have made the world a better place to see that people actually care enough. Just do the bare fucking minimum of not supporting white supremacy. But we don't get that because this fandom is filled with white supremacists, and the author is a white supremacist who has made all of her money on tokenizing and diversity baiting for years now. And now she's cashing in with Apple TV, the literal goddamn epitome of evil capitalist corporations. And the fandom, continuing into May 2025, just keeps doubling down and defending the racism if they will even acknowledge it at all, and most of them would literally rather die than acknowledge it. So that's why I made this video today, because I am sick to fucking death of all of these people, these fucking white supremacists who are 100% fine with white supremacy, who are deciding that the reaction to white supremacy is to just make racist jokes, defending it by pretending it's actually cute and what the character would want. Like, literally, it's fucking infuriating. And if you're not infuriated by racism, if you're not infuriated by white supremacy, I don't know what to fucking tell you. You're probably a fucking horrible person. You should fucking draw the line at whitewashing. You shouldn't excuse racism. You shouldn't be the literal meme. I can excuse racism. If you are white and you've ever read these books, you have a moral obligation to talk about this shit. You have a moral fucking obligation to tell your friends and your family not to watch the show. You have a moral obligation to tell people to cancel their goddamn Apple TV Plus subscriptions. And no, that doesn't mean you should actually pirate it and then fangirl over the pirated version anyways, which is literally still fucking supporting the racism and white supremacy and patriarchy and everything that is actually fucking bad here. Just don't watch the fucking racist show. You have a moral obligation to criticize racism. You have a moral obligation to be anti-racist. And yes, that does require admitting that whitewashing is racist as the absolute bare fucking minimum. The bar is so far in the ground, Satan is tripping over it. And so many people in this fandom would rather die than even acknowledge the racial aspect to literally any of this. And that is why we are going to get this absolute shit show of a TV show that, yes, people who can excuse racism is also going to hate on you. You are next in fucking line. If you can excuse the racism, if you can excuse the cis-washing, the extra-sexism, you don't get to fucking act surprised and offended when the white supremacist TV show by the billionaire corporation attacks you next. Whether you're a lesbian who's upset about errata and overse being erased and possibly combined into one character who sexually harasses Murderbot, or people who are mad that Murderbot is having dick jokes made about it, I don't know what to fucking tell you. Maybe you should give a shit about other people. If you actually cared about the fucking racism, you wouldn't have any fucks left to give about this show to be disappointed by more bigotry. You should literally not be surprised that the show that hates black and brown people and non-binary people also hates other queer people. You don't get to demand that we all be okay with the racism and extra sexism and then be upset on your behalf alone when you realize that the white people making this show also hate you. You don't get to just fucking throw solidarity under the bus to defend this shit and then demand anything when they come for you next. If you are excited about this show despite knowing all of the racism and extra sexism, it is literally no fault but your own when you get fucking disappointed that the racist, extra sexist show is also homophobic and also aro-asemitic. Like, you literally brought this on yourself. Again, this fandom could have done literally anything. Anything. We could have done so much, but we'll never fucking know. We could have changed the entire course of this fucking show. We could have actually gotten a fucking actor that actually represents the people that Murderbot has been told to represent for fucking almost a decade now. We could have been the fucking Sonic fandom getting a new design remade at the last fucking minute to edit into the entire goddamn movie. Because I know there's going to be people pretending that, once the casting was announced, then they could never have done anything. They've changed Sonic's entire goddamn face throughout the entire fucking movie. This could have been changed. But it wasn't. Because this fandom doesn't give a fuck about anything but themselves. They don't care about white supremacy. They don't care about racism. They don't care about extra sexism. They only care when it's suddenly coming for them too. Now that Murderbot is having dick jokes made about it, now that Overse and Arata have possibly just gotten erased from the story. Now those people care about the problems in this, but are they also upset about the whitewashing? Are they upset about the extra-sexism? No. These are the exact same people who have defended the show for the racism and extra-sexism. And now they're upset when it turns out that the white supremacist patriarchy show also hates them for not fitting into the white supremacist patriarchy. Maybe next time everybody will learn that the next time something is announced that inherently involves whitewashing and fucking extra-sexism or any other bigotry from the start, maybe people will actually fucking try to do something about that before it's too fucking late. 'Cause it is too late fucking now. They can't fix this shit now. I'm pretty sure it comes out in like a week or something. I don't fucking know. But this could have all been changed if only the people in this fandom had given enough shits to just say something, anything, to actually take a stand when it was first announced. But no. Everybody in this fandom would rather die defending white supremacist patriarchy, and now they're still going to defend it, and they're going to keep defending it until, like, and I am going to predict this, like 10 years in the fucking future, hopefully less than that, when more people will start reading these books and they'll watch this shitty racist TV show and they will start fucking beating the metaphorical shit out of it and talking about all of the problems and talking about all of the blatant white supremacy constantly on display by this fandom and this series. Because if you didn't see my other videos somehow, this series is filled with fucking white supremacist stereotypes. It is filled with slavery apologism. The entire premises is a fucking slave owner fantasy about being the best slave owner ever so that your slaves want to die to protect you. And none of the racist fuckers, the literal white supremacists, the closeted queer white supremacists who are now acting shocked that the cishet patriarchy show also hates them for defying the cishet patriarchy. None of these people get to pretend that they never said any of this and, oh, it was just a different era back then. It was just a different age. People didn't know that whitewashing was bad. Because, yes, people are literally making that argument to defend Martha Wells' racism and slavery apologism from 2011. Martha Wells, I do have to reiterate, is not a brand new up-and-coming author. She's been writing for decades, probably longer than some people watching this video have even been alive. She's not new at this. She knows exactly what she's doing. She has had her whole entire fucking life to actually listen to minorities and actually fucking care about us. And every time she has received criticism, instead of learning and listening and fucking acknowledging and owning up to the racist shit she's done, she just doubles down. She's literally more willing to defend British colonization and pretend that British colonization wasn't racist or evil than just own up to the fact that she used racist tropes in 2011. How I have absolutely no respect for her at all as a person anymore. I have no benefit of the doubt left to give her. She doesn't deserve it. She doesn't care about me. She doesn't care about people of color. She doesn't care about poor people. She doesn't care about trans people. She doesn't care about non-binary people especially. She doesn't care about any of us. She only fucking wants our money. She is just as fucking bad as all of the shit that J.K. Rowling has written and gotten rightful shit over. She has written the exact same slavery apologist trope of the happy slaves multiple goddamn times and made literal caricatures of people who have pointed out that it's racist in her fucking book. She has had every opportunity, as long as she has been alive, to learn and grow as a person. But instead of just owning up to her mistakes and becoming a better person and actually making the world a better place by being less racist and being anti-racist on purpose, she would literally rather defend British colonization than just fucking admit she used racist tropes. She won't even admit that. She would literally rather defend British colonization. And now she's 1000% on board with a TV show produced by Apple that is white supremacist patriarchy in action for everybody to see. And her hordes of stans are defending her and defending the white supremacy, and nobody is ever allowed to pretend that this was just a different time. People didn't know this was bad. Because anytime somebody fucking says that, they are a goddamn liar. As long as there has been bigotry, there have been people fighting back against that bigotry. You don't get to say, oh, but it was normal back then. Except it wasn't fucking normal to the victims. It's been bigotry the entire goddamn time. There is no such thing as bigotry that was never fucking bad. People in 2030, 2040, whatever fucking year, don't get to pretend that people right now, when this show was coming out, haven't been defending it since literally before day one. And they don't get to pretend that Martha Wells is just some helpless victim who can't do anything but capitulate and sing praise for white supremacy as though she's just a helpless victim and not literally somebody who's been telling everybody every chance she can get how much she adores the white supremacist adaptation and loves everybody involved with it and is so proud to be working on it. Nobody gets to pretend that there was no problem with this at all. The only reason most of this fandom doesn't have a problem with it is because most of this fandom is actively white supremacist. It's not because it's normal. It's because they are active white supremacists who want white supremacy to stay, quote unquote, normal. They want to keep all of their privileges. This is not fucking normal. This is not the way everybody sees the world. This is just how white supremacists think the world should be because they hate everybody who is not a cis white man. It is May 7th, 2025. I will probably make more videos about this because it's fucking inescapable. You cannot go to anything talking about Murderbot without seeing people defending this fucking white supremacy and just saying the most racist and extra sexist shit imaginable. And the most galling thing is when they literally lie about what people like me are saying so that they can pretend we're the real bigots. It's like, Jesus Christ, I want to fucking smash your head in with a goddamn sledgehammer. This fandom is filled with white supremacists. Martha Wells is white supremacist. Any author who is okay with explicitly, like purposefully, going out of their way to avoid giving us canon descriptions of the character in the text so that they have plausible deniability to support whitewashing, like is what is going on right fucking now, is a goddamn racist. Martha Wells is not your friend. Martha Wells is not a good person. She doesn't deserve your support. She doesn't deserve whatever fucking money Apple is giving her. Any actual person who cares about not supporting white supremacy, anybody who actually wants to be anti-racist, you couldn't pay them enough to do this shit. And she is happy to fucking accept the money because the truth is, she doesn't fucking care about any minority. She only cares about her wallet. She only cares about other cis white people. She doesn't care about the black and brown people that she has been tokenizing and telling us that Murderbot represents. She doesn't care about non-binary people. She doesn't care about aro ace people. She doesn't care about anyone. She's just another fucking white supremacist, tokenizing and profiting off of fucking pretending to be progressive and pretending to care about other people, and then just dropping that pretense as soon as openly being white supremacist and supporting white supremacy will get her more money. May 7th, 2025. Tell your family members to cancel their stupid Apple TV subscription. Cancel your subscription if you have one. If you don't have a subscription, good for you. Go online and tell everybody to fucking cancel theirs. Tell people not to watch this shitty white supremacist show. No, you fucking lazy bastards. Not even hate watching it. Just don't fucking watch it. Do not give them views. Do not give them permission to do more shit like this. You should do the absolute bare minimum to fight against white supremacy, which should have been protesting when this was first fucking announced and criticizing it when it was first announced. But now that it's too fucking late to do that, the very least you can do is not give them tacit fucking approval by watching their fucking show. Don't watch it. Tell your friends and family not to watch it. Tell anybody who will fucking listen to you online not to watch it. It is not fucking difficult. You don't have to pay money. You just have to not give Apple, the trillion-dollar company that wants you to be scammed out of every cent you have. Just don't watch their shitty white supremacist show. Good fucking bye. Next time, who the fuck knows what we'll talk about? Probably some other fucking horrific thing Martha Wells' Stan has said, or maybe Martha Wells will somehow say another fucking interview that makes all of this even more exponentially worse than it always is, because she seems to have a magical talent for that. Bye-bye. May 7th, 2025. Fuck white supremacy. And fuck Martha Wells for profiting off of it after doing all of this shit for years. Bye.